Now in this video, we're going to start adding in the detail and really bringing in the focus to the eyes and the lips and just bringing the painting to life. Let's start with painting in the pupils. Select the dark blue in the eyes and let's kind of lighten the saturation and the brightness and use a light blue color to paint in the pupils. To add a little more definition around the nose and eye area, I'm just going to add a few big brush strokes that just indicate some darker shadows. I'm not going into too much detail. And now color picking a lighter shade of the skin tone, I'm going to again start adding in more definition to the Cupid's bow area. That is the area just above your lips. To zoom in, press Z on your keyboard. You can also hold the Alt or Option button, and this will kind of switch from zoom in and zoom out. Now we're going to go in and start adding in detail to the eyebrow area. And now making sure that your shape dynamics is on and making your round brush into a thin angle, let's start laying down strokes. And now I'm going to use my color picker and just really add in a few lighter brush strokes and darker brush strokes here and there. I'm taking and I'm adding constantly as I'm painting, and just have my hand on the Alt key on my keyboard to select my color as I go. Now selecting the dark around her pupil area, let's use the same color to lay in the eyelashes. You can also make sure that your shape dynamics and an angled brush is on, or you don't have to have it angled as I am doing right now. I'm going to add more depth to the character, so I'm just adding in a few brush strokes here and there to pull out a few features from her face. I want to define her cheekbone area a little bit more. And again, I want to add a little more definition to the eyebrow here. Let's start working on the lips again. I think right now they're quite dark and defined. We want to start bringing a little more translucency and warmth to them. So I'm going to select a lighter color and just color in lightly on the inside. Now it's a little too light. Remember that the shadow is coming in from the left. So we're going to darken that up a little bit more again. And I'm just lightly painting in these strokes. And now I think her lip is too defined in this area. We want to kind of make it seem like there's a smooth transition from her lips to her face. So again, with a lower opacity brush, I'm just going to loosely paint that in. And it gives a much more softer look to the painting as well. Let's add a little more shadow again here on her chin and lip area. Big brush, I just want to smooth out this area a little bit more. Now I want to add in a little more definition on her eyebrow arch area. Just we want to darken it up more. I think her nose area is a little too soft. I'm going to give it a more squarish feel. Also, I want to lighten up this area on the Cupid's bow. Just that little touch instantly made her nose look much better. Now I want to select the warm dark brown again and add a little more definition to this area. We're going to start sharpening it up and really popping out certain parts of her face. And now what I want to do is, I think her face looks a little too pale, so I'm going to add a hue saturation filter on top of all my layers. I'm going to up the saturation so that the image looks a little more richer and more vibrant. Now let's start sharpening up her eye area over here. We want to pull everything forward from now on. And now I want to add a little more highlight above her lip area. I think it just is too dark and too much of a big dark shape right there. Just gonna add in a few more strokes, very loosely painting it in. Again, just remember to use nice loose strokes as you're painting. Don't zoom in and go into too much detail. Start adding a softer, redder brown to her lips, and it'll just make it pop a little more and give it more color. add in more of a shadow where her top lip rests on her bottom lip. So I'm going to turn on my shape dynamics, and with a darker color I'm just going to add in that feature right there, and it just instantly makes it seem like her lip is really resting on top of her bottom lip. Let's bring a nice rosiness to her cheeks. On a new layer, select a nice light brown red, and with a big brush, let's lay down a big stroke going down from the right to the left toward her lips. You can also decide to put this on a multiply layer or not, and remember to lower the opacity in case you think it's too deep and too rich. And of course, don't remember to add that same warmth to the ears as well as to the eyebrows and whatever areas that you want to bring focus to. And now in the next video, we're going to start adding in the final details to the ears and just really bringing the entire piece together. We're going to add more contrast to the hair and really sharpen up the highlights and the shadows.